This is Alina Patton-Jones, and you're listening to The Last 2%. Today, I want to talk to you about grief in the grocery store. Yeah, grief in the grocery store. It will hit you anytime, anywhere. Doesn't matter who you're with, who you're not with. Like, it will just hit you, and the only thing that you can do is fall to your knees and deal with it in that moment. Anybody who has experienced grief, I'm sure, has experienced this, where they are in a place where they feel, oh, I woke up, I have this today, I'm feeling good, I can go out, get my errands done, and I'm not feeling sad. Wow, that's a good day. And then all of a sudden, you're in the grocery store reaching for the cornflakes, and grief hits you in such a hard way that all you can do is hit your knees and cry. That happened to me recently, and thank God the grocery store wasn't crowded, so I was able to pull myself together pretty quickly, get up and move on. But and that might not have been the best way to deal with it. I probably, could have sat there, but then you don't want anybody coming to you asking you what's wrong, because it'll only make it worse. But in those moments, you have to realize that you have to surrender to the feeling, right? We have to go through the valley, not around it, not above it. You have to go through it. And in going through it, it means that you have to allow yourself these moments, these times when, you think you think that you are okay, but you're not. You're still grieving. You're still grieving. Sometimes you feel it in your chest. Sometimes you feel it, in your head. You can feel it all over your body. But this particular day, I really felt like I had it. I was up, moving around, didn't feel depressed, didn't feel angry, didn't feel like I was bargaining, all the different stages of grief. And here I am on my knees in the grocery store saying, well, my God, what happened? So what do we do with that? What do we do with that? And I think the answer to that is that you have to allow yourself to feel. There's no way around it. You have to allow yourself to go through it, to feel it, to understand that this is a part of the grieving process. And sometimes that's hard to explain. Like, you're in the middle of having a complete meltdown and somebody asks you, are you okay? Well, no, I'm not. But I don't necessarily want to go into, oh, my mom died, 6 months ago, or however long ago. That's the other thing. It doesn't matter how long you've been grieving. There's no one way to grieve. And there certainly is no one way, after a year, as far as the time goes. There's not one way to do it. It can take you a year, it can take you 10 years, it can take you 20 years, it can take you 30 years to go through. Sometimes you never stop grieving a person or a thing, depending upon what that relationship was. And so in understanding that, and in understanding that these moments will happen, you then can begin to accept, okay, this is what it is. This is what grief is. And this is how you have to deal with it. 1 minute you're okay, 1 minute you're not. But you will get yourself together, get up and move on, as I did in the middle of the grocery store, and continued my shopping after I had my moment. But the most important piece to all of this is that you have to allow yourself to have these moments. Because if you don't, it's going to come out one way or another. It can't stay bottled up. You have to continue to process, continue to go through the pain of it all, because it is extremely painful. But in order to get to the other side of that pain where you'll never necessarily get over it, but you can get to the other side of it where you're able to live with it, right? You can get to the other side of it where you're able to live with it. Because I know for some right now, living with grief is unbearable. But in those cases, you have to still try to make yourself get up and go and move. And if you can't move on that particular day, on that particular week, on that particular month, then that's okay too. But at some point, you will find yourself in a place where, okay, I have to get up. I have to cope. I have to deal with the fact of this loss. They're not coming back. And grief also, in saying that they're not coming back, it seems to get worse instead of getting better. Like initially you feel like, okay, it's been a few months. I'm adjusting. Again, I feel good today. And then all of a sudden you realize that you start to feel worse versus feeling better, because the longer you go, the more you realize this person is not coming back. And so dealing with that, you have to deal with that by moving through the pain of it. One of the ways that I think is a good way to deal in those moments is by either having an object or something that you have of theirs, if that's available to you, that you wear. Today you will see that I'm wearing my mom's ring. And this is a ring I often put on just to remind myself she's still here. She's still with me. She is not in the same form. It's not in the physical form, but she is with me. She's in my heart. She's in my soul. And I know that. And it brings me comfort when I have something of hers on. For some people, it might be, the color that you wear, somebody's favorite color. It could be a very simple act that you do that will help you to just cope and move through the day and make yourself feel a little bit better, make yourself feel a little bit safe. Because when you are in a state of grief and you feel so vulnerable that anything can happen at any time, 1 minute you're up and the next minute you're down on your knees crying, it makes you feel vulnerable. It makes you feel like you don't want to leave the house. It makes you feel like you can't cope, and all those things are okay. But I do find in having something of the person that passed, wearing something of the person that passed, or having something of theirs with you that you can hold on to, that you can physically hold on to, definitely helps. I find that having something physical that you can hold on to definitely helps. And that's how you deal with it day to day, hour by hour. It really is an hour by hour thing. It's not even a day by day thing in the beginning. And then you'll find as you move forward, it'll become easier. Or the times that you find yourself falling on your knees will become less. As time goes on, grief is one of those things where it changes and morphs into different feelings and different things. And so you will find that hour by hour moves to day by day, moves to week by week, and then it's month by month. And as the time goes on, you will definitely feel a little bit better, a little bit brighter, a little bit more stable, less vulnerable. But you have to give yourself the opportunity to mourn, the opportunity to grieve, the opportunity to feel what you feel and be in your feelings and know that it is okay. It is okay. However you are dealing with your grief, it's okay. You have to allow yourself to do that. And there's no one way to grieve. Everybody has their own process. Everybody has their own timeline. And that is one of the key things that you always have to remember. You can't look at anybody else and compare them and say, well, this person, looks like they're doing a whole lot better than I am. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because everybody has their own personal process that they go through when they grieve. And so you just have to know what your process is. And if your process is today I'm up going through the grocery store and something hits me and I'm down on my knees, but then I get back up and I'm okay for the rest of the day, that's what your process is. That's what my process is anyway. And so I'm here to tell you that it is okay and be okay. And it is okay to not be okay. And let yourself heal, because you will get to a point where you will heal from this. You will get to a point where you will heal from this. You will get to a point where you can move through and not feel as bad, because that's the other piece. The feeling of feeling bad is really tough to go through because no one wants to feel bad. But when you're grieving, you physically, mentally, emotionally feel bad. And you don't want that. And so it's hard to process those feelings. But whenever the time comes, in whatever way it comes, I'm here to say it's okay. This is Alina Patton Jones, and you've been listening to The Last 2%.